Good morning and welcome back to the morning commute. Right now we are sitting at 64 degrees and it feels good outside. Man, I forgot all about trash days, so I was taking out the bins at the last minute, so I'm a little behind schedule. But I did grab breakfast. Did you guys see that license plate? I grabbed some breakfast and the missus made some lunch. So I am a happy camper. I may pick up some chips though, because I kind of want some chips with my sandwiches. And then I got me a cup of Joe here. So it's a good morning. I hope everyone's good. Got a nice cool weekend coming up. I think we might get some moisture, but I'm not 100% sure. I've been seeing quite a few newer trucks on the road these days, and I wonder about how the newer engines perform. I believe like the half-ton Chevys are going to a smaller cylinder size with maybe a turbo option or something. I don't think the half-tons come with a V8 anymore, but I'm not 100% sure. So if someone can verify that, if anyone's gotten a new truck lately, what kind of engine did it come with and how's the performance? I heard some bad stuff about how these newer fuel-saving engines are encountering issues, like the ones where they would shut off some cylinders during when they're just like cruising on the freeway in order to save fuel. But I haven't heard of anyone that has one personally. It's a nice day out. So let's go listen to some of the news. Let's see what the traffic's like ahead.
Men are protected from discrimination under Britain's Equality Act. It goes on to say transgender people are still protected against discrimination and harassment. All of our top stories just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Here's John Roller live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Well, thanks very much, guys. I'm taking a look at the Agua Fria Freeway northbound, the 101 up near Union Hills, and we've got a beautiful Arizona sunrise in store this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. Now back to the roadways. We did start the morning out with a couple of crashes coming in from the West Valley, eastbound I-10 right near Dysart. That slowed things down for a short period of time. That is out of there, so all lanes are back open. Still working that crash up ahead, eastbound I-10 right near 51st Avenue. This crash is up against the median wall up left, but sounds like they're calling fire out, so you may have that left lane blocked there. Heads up there. A little bit of slowing right at the 202, transitioning to the eastbound I-10. Earlier crash in Tempe, southbound 101, right near Broadway. That is out of there. Same thing with the crash eastbound Loop 202. Santan Freeway, that crash near Arizona Avenue, that is also out of the way. Traffic is brought to you by Home Tap. Get access to your home equity in cash, get closer to financial freedom, and get more out of life. Visit HomeTap.com and apply in minutes. John Roller, KTAR News.
We're looking at mostly sunny, cooler temperatures as well. High of 81 today and a high of 77 tomorrow. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing.
Good.
Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
As an investigation into Department of Defense info leaks continues, a third Pentagon official was placed on administrative leave this week. On Wednesday, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's senior advisor and the DoD's deputy chief of staff were put on leave. And then yesterday, Colin Carroll, chief of staff to the deputy secretary of defense, suffered the same fate.
What's this all about? ABC News correspondent Chris Baccia joins us from Washington. Chris, specifically, what is this investigation about? We've read in some places that it covers a couple of different military operations and even possibly Elon Musk and his visit to the Pentagon. Do we know for sure?
Good morning. We don't know for sure. There are a number of possibilities putting sort of connecting the dots, but I think the key thing to know is that this investigation into leaks was launched March 21, the day that Elon Musk came to the Pentagon for a high-profile meeting. Now, the night before that meeting, the New York Times had reported that he was coming to have a classified briefing with the Joint Chiefs over American war plans with China. The Pentagon at the time and the White House furiously denied those reports, and it certainly unsettled the top levels of leadership there over that leak. An investigation was launched into that, among some other things that ended up in the press that, quite frankly, they didn't want to end up in the press, like American war plans, military plans for Panama. Same goes for a U.S. aircraft carrier that was being deployed to the Middle East, the second one. So a number of things that were leaked that the Pentagon didn't want getting leaked. They launched an investigation that included the authorization of polygraph, and this is sort of the early result, at least the early casualties of that. We now have 3 people who have been escorted out of the building in the last couple of days.
You know, there are, in my opinion, 2 types of leaks. You've got the leaks that put military personnel in harm's way or leaking out security information, and then there are the leaks that make the politicians look bad. This sounds like it's kind of a mix, Chris.
Hard to say because we don't really know for sure whether Elon Musk was coming to receive a briefing of that fashion. Now, if he was a classified briefing, it would be understandable that some people were upset about that at the Pentagon, to see someone who had not the proper clearances to receive that briefing. So, I think you get at a good point, which is that we don't really know exactly the origin, the roots of these firings, of these suspensions. It's been speculated about, certainly that comment in Washington, that this is part of a larger purge, a larger turnover. I think the surprising thing is that these are people close to the defense secretary, people who are clearly his allies. 2 of them were associates at the veterans organization that he once ran, Concerned Veterans for America. The third one is also someone who's really aligned on his policy. So it's surprising to see people in his inner circle, someone like a Dan Caldwell, a senior advisor who would appear with him in meetings with foreign dignitaries, be shown the door so quickly into the administration.
Now, this isn't the first time that Pete Hegseth is sort of, brushing against some scandal. There was the Signal app thing. Is Hegseth in trouble with these people so close to him getting escorted out?
I think the Signal chat was a moment where Democrats were raising their voices that it should be a moment where the defense secretary considered resignation or that he would resign. That didn't happen sort of at the peak of that controversy. And here's a case where you don't have Democrats saying anything of that sort. This is a sort of internal Pentagon matter. I was looking this morning to see if those calls existed really, and they don't necessarily. The last time it was pretty widespread in the Democratic Party to say the secretary himself was the one who revealed those operational details in the Signal chat that had a journalist in it that could have potentially put American service members at risk. This is a very different case. There's no real linkage to the Signal chat other than the fact that Dan Caldwell was in that Signal chat as well, who's been fired. He was the representative of Hegseth, which just goes to show you how close the 2 are.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, one of those Democrats calling for Pete Hegseth's resignation after the Signal chat was, of course, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. That is ABC News correspondent Chris Baccia joining us this morning from Washington. A leak scandal at the Pentagon is going on right now, and heads are kind of rolling.
Coming up in moments, the Menendez brothers may have a wait before they hear if they'll be freed.
Right now, here is John Roller in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jim. We've got a surface street issue we want to let folks in Goodyear know about. We had an earlier car pedestrian crash that has shut down the northbound lanes of Litchfield Road. from the I-10 up to McDowell. Heads up for that crash working there. Also eastbound I-10 right near 51st Avenue. We've got a crash off to the left against the median wall. Sounds like fire is going to check a few folks out there, so heads up. Lean to the right, a little bit of slowing as you approach and come off the 202 South Mountain, transitioning to the eastbound I-10. Also a crash in the clearing stages eastbound Loop 202, Santan Freeway near Arizona Avenue down in Chandler. Traffic is brought to you by Home Tap. Get access to your home equity in cash. Get closer to financial freedom and get more out of life. Visit hometap.com and apply in minutes. John Roller, KTAR News.
Mostly sunny and cooler with a high of 81 today, down to 77 for Friday. Partly cloudy skies. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
KTAR News Time 5:51. This is Jim Sharp, and it is shocking how many people are injured on the roads of Arizona every day. We're talking close to 150 a day. Yeah, that's what ADOT says, and it's that's why I say you need good lawyers changing lives. If you get injured in a car accident, if you get injured on the job, that happens too, right? And if it's not your fault and it's legitimate, I always got to put that caveat in there. We don't want you, faking and stuff. When you contact Berg Simpson, Arizona Personal Injury and Car Accident Lawyers, Berg Simpson Lawyers, 31 of them are listed in the publication Best Lawyers in America. 14 of their attorneys listed in the publication Super Lawyers. And it's because they've been at this for a while. And what I mean at this, I mean taking the people responsible.
Legal theory the Supreme Court under Roberts has championed. The theory is called the major questions doctrine. And the idea is that if the executive branch wants to decide an issue of major national significance, it needs congressional authorization. Here's California's Governor Gavin Newsom making the case.
I would just highlight just two of the specific examples the Supreme Court used as it relates to the major questions doctrine on the issue of student loans under the Biden administration, on the Clean Power Plan under the Obama administration. If they are consistent, then this lawsuit is a lock.
Because he said the tariffs impact the economy in California in such a profound way.
Also heard the governor say that California is the biggest manufacturing state. Surprised me a little.
Yeah, he did say that. He was talking about the value of output. He mentioned NVIDIA in Silicon Valley. So officials are trying to assert that they have standing to sue, and they are trying to highlight the major economic impacts of the tariffs, something that again goes to proving the relevance of the major questions doctrine. Now, while the state is asserting that this is a slam dunk, as the governor said, the White House says it believes it is on solid ground on the basis that the tariffs are dealing with a national emergency. And that's something Congress has authorized according to the White House. Now, that's an interpretation that courts will have to resolve as well, David.
All right, Nova, thank you. The Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell yesterday indicated he'll wait and see regarding the economic effect of tariffs before changing interest rates. The European Central Bank today lowered Europe's cost of borrowing to compensate for what the Europeans see as erratic U.S. trade policy. President Trump today posted he wants Powell out. NASDAQ futures are up 1%. Dow futures are down 1.3%. So things are mixed.
All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. It looks like we have clear roads today and a nice cool weekend in the plans. So I hope you enjoyed the ride. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to call and hug your loved ones. Visit them if you can.